What if the life you keep waiting for is not actually far away, my dear, but only waiting for you to stop treating it like a stranger? Come here with me for a moment and let that question settle in your chest. So many people are tired not because their dream is impossible, but because they keep standing outside of it, staring at it, measuring the distance, checking for proof, and asking life to show the evidence first. And that is exhausting. It is exhausting to live like a person who is forever almost there. It is exhausting to wake up each day and look for signs that what you want is finally coming, as though your peace must remain suspended until the outer world decides to cooperate. My dear, you do not need to run faster. You do not need to chase harder. You do not need to force the future to hurry so you can finally exhale. You only need to become the version of you who has already arrived inwardly. That is the whole secret. We do not chase, we embody. If what you long for were already true, how would you breathe this morning? Would your shoulders still be so high? Would your jaw still be so tight? Would your eyes still be searching the horizon like someone abandoned by life? Or would there be just a little more softness, a little more steadiness, a little more quiet trust in the body? That is where the work begins, sweetheart. Not in speed, in embodiment, not in begging life to move, in becoming someone who no longer stands emotionally outside her own good. You see, what people call a quantum leap is often misunderstood. They think it means something sudden, dramatic, magical, almost like jumping from one life into another in a single sparkling moment. But that is not how I want you to hold it. I want you to hold it more tenderly, more intelligently. There are many possible versions of your life, many ways your days may unfold, many ways your future may be shaped. The self you dream of is not fantasy in the childish sense. It is possibility. It is a wave waiting to be selected, nourished, lived into. The life where you are calmer, more loved, more supported, more prosperous, more peaceful, more open, more radiant, more deeply at home in yourself, that life exists as a living possibility. But you do not move toward it by staring at it from fear. You move toward it by choosing it with your attention, your feeling, your body, your daily posture, your inner signature. And this is why I say the future is not far away, my dear. It is only different in frequency. It is not on another planet. It is simply a different emotional atmosphere, a different embodied state, a different level of inner agreement. Time collapse is not really about forcing time. It is about reducing the felt distance between someday and now. It is about no longer speaking of your good as though it lives in exile from you. It is about letting the body begin experiencing now what the heart keeps postponing for later. If you want peace, begin breathing like peace belongs to you. If you want love, begin standing like you are already lovable. If you want abundance, begin softening the famine in your nervous system. If you want health, begin speaking to the body as an ally instead of a disappointment. My dear, this is how the distance shortens. The future starts feeling nearer when the body stops living as though it is forever far away. But now I want to tell you something very important, because this is where many people get lost. This kind of transformation is not a parlor game for the mind. It is not saying pretty things while the body remains terrified. It is not whispering, "I have it," while your belly is knotted, your breath is trapped, your shoulders are raised, and your whole nervous system is still screaming, "Danger, not yet, not safe." That is why this work must be embodied. If the mouth says yes while the body says no, the deeper system believes the body always. So before you try to leap into any new identity, pause and check what your body is doing. Take 10 seconds. Let the jaw soften. Let the shoulders drop. Let the palms open. Let the belly stop gripping. And then say very simply, "It is safe now." Again, "It is safe now." Because if it is not safe to have what you want, you will keep pushing it away even while asking for it. If it is not safe to be seen, you will hide while saying you want recognition. If it is not safe to be supported, you will reject help while praying for it. If it is not safe to have money, you will leak it, fear it, mismanage it, or resent it while saying you want more of it. If it is not safe to be loved, you will brace against intimacy while saying you want connection. My dear, embodied transformation means the mind, the emotions, the body, and the energy all begin learning the same language. Not perfectly, not all at once, but enough that the system stops fighting itself. So every leap begins here. It is safe for me to have this. It is safe for me to live it now. I release the how. Those are not just nice lines. They are instructions to the whole field of you. And this brings us to something I want you to remember all day long. Life responds to your energy signature more than to your surface wishes. You do not manifest by making lists alone. You manifest by what you keep observing, rehearsing, feeding, and emotionally inhabiting. Your attention is not passive, my dear. Your attention is a command. The things you stare at with fear, the stories you repeat, the scenarios you rehearse, the identities you reinforce, the emotional climates you keep returning to, these become your familiar reality. The field of life does not only hear what you say you want, it feels what you keep practicing. So if you say you want love, but keep observing abandonment, then abandonment becomes more familiar than love. If you say you want abundance, but keep observing lack, then lack becomes the reality your nervous system knows how to recognize. If you say you want health, but keep staring at your body with disappointment, then disappointment becomes part of the field. My dear, what you observe long enough becomes your emotional home. And that is why the observer effect matters so much in daily life. Not as abstract theory, but as a simple, loving warning. Be careful what you keep feeding with your sacred attention, because attention is nourishment, attention is practice, attention is energetic instruction. The self who keeps observing chaos becomes fluent in chaos. The self who begins observing safety, worth, possibility, and enoughness becomes fluent in those instead. This is not because life is shallow. It is because consciousness organizes around repetition. So I want you to become very tender and very deliberate now. When fear says, watch this problem, stare at it, make it the center of the day, pause, widen the frame, breathe. Remember that what you look at again and again gains emotional weight. Then ask yourself, what do I want to make familiar? Not what do I wish would happen one day, but what do I want my body to begin knowing now? Do you want your body to know support? Then observe support. Do you want your heart to know peace? Then observe peace, even in small things. Do you want your life to know love? Then become someone who stops rehearsing rejection all day. My dear, the shift is so often this simple and this profound. Stop making fear the thing you practice most faithfully. And maybe that is what a true leap really is. Not running faster, not trying harder, not pushing the future toward you with strain. A true leap is when the inner world stops living in contradiction. It is when the body softens around what the heart desires. It is when the mind stops begging for evidence and begins generating a new atmosphere. It is when your attention becomes loyal to what nourishes instead of what drains. It is when you stop behaving like someone still waiting at the gate and begin living like someone who has already stepped inside in consciousness. It is safe for me to have this. I live it now. I release the how. Say that slowly. Let it enter where the old waiting has been living. So today, sweetheart, do not ask, how can I make it come faster? Ask, how can I become more available to it now? Do not ask, why is it still far away? Ask, where am I still treating it like it belongs to someone else? Do not ask, how do I force the leap? Ask, what does the arrived version of me feel like in this breath? Then begin there. One softer jaw, one lower shoulder, one open hand, one calmer choice, one truer focus, one less hour spent staring at the absence of proof. That is how time begins to collapse. That is how the future stops feeling like a distant country and starts becoming a present state you can step into. And so, my dear, let me leave you with these truths the way I would place a warm shawl around your shoulders. It is safe for me to have this. I live it now. I release the how. It is safe now. My attention is a command. What I nourish grows. Stay with that. The version of you who has arrived is not asking you to run harder. She is asking you to embody her now. Let's go deeper, my dear, because this is where so many people quietly slow their own becoming without even realizing it. They say they want something new, something beautiful, something more peaceful, more loving, more abundant, more free. And yet inside they are still divided. One part of them is praying. Another part is doubting. One part is speaking a lovely affirmation. Another part is gripping the chair with fear. One part is dreaming of the future. Another part is preparing for disappointment. And then they wonder why things feel delayed. But life responds so much more easily when the whole of you begins moving in one direction. That is what coherence is. It is not perfection. It is agreement. It is the moment your mind stops saying one thing while your body says another. It is the moment your heart stops trembling against the very good your soul says it wants. It is the moment the inner argument grows quieter and your energy begins flowing through one clear channel. And that, my darling, creates speed. Not frantic speed, not nervous speed, not the speed of grasping and chasing, but the natural speed that comes when energy is no longer leaking in 10 different directions. So many people do not need more force. They need more coherence. They need their mind, heart, and body to stop pulling against one another like frightened horses tied to different carts. When that happens, the journey feels so hard. But when the reins are gathered, when the whole being begins agreeing, life starts responding in a very different way. My mind, heart, and body agree. Say that slowly. Let it settle into you. My mind, heart, and body agree. That is not a small sentence. That is a prayer for alignment. That is a nervous system becoming available to movement. Let us make it very simple, because I do not want this to become another big spiritual theory floating above your actual life. There are 3 layers of coherence, and all 3 matter. The first is mind coherence. This is the language you keep using. It is the story you keep repeating. It is whether your words speak from your old fear or your new truth. If your mouth says, I am safe, I have support, I am worthy, but the rest of the day you keep muttering, nothing ever works, I always mess it up, it's too late, it's too hard, it probably won't happen, then the mind is not coherent. It is scattered. It is divided. It is sending mixed instructions. My dear, you must become more faithful with your words. Not rigid, not artificial, not pretending, but faithful. Choose the inner language you want to become more real and keep returning to it. I am and I have matter because they keep your consciousness in the present tense of your becoming. I am safe. I am guided. I have what I need for today. I have peace available now. These are not decorations. These are directional signs. The second layer is heart coherence. This means the emotional tone inside you begins matching what you say you welcome. Not perfectly every hour, but enough that the heart is no longer living in chronic contradiction. Peace, gratitude, safety, softness, trust. These are the emotional climates that support receiving. If you say you want love, but you keep rehearsing betrayal all day, the heart is not coherent. If you say you want abundance, but inwardly you are still worshiping scarcity, the heart is not coherent. So you begin nourishing simple, elevated feelings, not by force, but by repeated return. A little gratitude, a little safety, a little trust, a little appreciation, and then there is body coherence, which is the one so many people ignore. The body must be invited too. Deep breath, soft shoulders, relaxed jaw, belly no longer braced for bad news, open palms, softer eyes. A body that is not defending itself from the very thing it says it wants. My darling, when these 3 begin agreeing even imperfectly, something beautiful happens. The whole field of you becomes easier to guide. My mind, heart, and body agree. Again, my mind, heart, and body agree. Feel how that changes the room inside you. And once there is more coherence, then you can begin living like the version of you who already belongs to what you say you want. This is where people misunderstand the teaching of act as if. They think it means putting on a costume, pretending, performing, becoming theatrical. forcing themselves into some exaggerated future identity. But no, sweetheart, I never mean play acting. I mean standards. I mean the quiet change that happens when you no longer let the old fearful self run every ordinary moment. How do you speak if you are already the woman who is at peace? How do you decide if you are already the one who trusts life more? How do you handle money if you are already the one who respects abundance? How do you answer people if you are already the one who does not abandon herself? How do you carry your body if you are already the one who knows she is worthy? This is not theater. This is embodiment. It is not pretending to be someone else. It is choosing to stop obeying the smallest, most frightened part of you as though it is the only voice in the room. If the version of you who has arrived would not beg, then stop begging. If she would not over-explain, stop over-explaining. If she would rest before collapse, then rest before collapse. If she would set a boundary instead of resenting silently, then set the boundary. If she would take one kind step instead of spiraling, then take the step. That is what living it now means, not a performance for the world, a private devotion to a new standard. But, and this matters so much, you must do your part without trying to manage life's part. This is where people tire themselves out. They begin aligning, then immediately start supervising the invisible. They place the intention, then dig up the seed. They speak the truth, then run into the kitchen every 10 minutes to see whether the order is being prepared. My dear, you already know how foolish that is. And yet when fear rises, we all forget and do it again. We say, I'm trusting while checking. I'm receiving while doubting. I'm aligned while mentally panicking over the timeline. No, you do your part. Life does its part. You plant the seed in good soil. You water it. You protect it from trampling. You do not dig it up each morning and ask if it has roots yet. You do not kneel in the dirt screaming at it to hurry. You let it live. You let it become. You let time participate. I do my part. Life does its part. That is such a healing sentence. It frees you from the exhausting fantasy that your nervous system must control the whole unfolding. Your job is clarity. Your job is alignment. Your job is your next right step. The larger orchestration, the timing, the intersections, the arrangements, the unseen movement, those belong to life. And when you stop interfering with that, your energy becomes much cleaner, much calmer, much more powerful, because it is no longer leaking into obsessive management. Now let us go to something I love very much, because it changes the body so quickly when you really understand it. You must normalize the good. My dear, so many people place their dreams so high on a pedestal that the body begins treating it like a threat. They make the thing they want feel so enormous, so rare, so far away, so miraculous, so unlike them, that the nervous system quietly says, no, 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 that is too much. That is not safe. That is not real for us. That is not familiar enough to hold. And then they wonder why they keep pushing it away. But what if the very thing you desire is meant to become ordinary to you? What if peace is not a miracle but a natural state? What if love is not some exotic event but something your life can quietly hold? What if support is allowed to become normal? What if abundance can feel as natural as clean water in the house? That is what I mean by normalizing the good. You stop treating what you want like a museum object behind glass. You begin bringing it closer. You begin letting the body grow familiar with the idea that it is safe, natural, and allowed. This is why the bridge phrases matter so much. If your system still doubts, then do not force it into giant declarations. Use gentle bridge thoughts. I am willing to have this. It can be easy. It is normal for good to come to me. These are such tender sentences, my dear, because they lower the intensity. They tell the body, you do not have to panic just because life may become kinder. They tell the heart, the good is not a lightning strike. It may be a natural belonging, and the subconscious receives what feels familiar much faster than what feels mythical. So if you want something beautiful, stop making it emotionally gigantic. Bring it closer. Make it softer. Let it become thinkable, breathable, livable. This is true in love, in money, in health, in peace, in purpose, in joy. A person who secretly believes peace is rare will keep creating inner chaos because chaos feels more familiar. A person who secretly believes love is hard will keep choosing difficult patterns because difficulty feels more believable than ease. A person who secretly believes abundance is for other people will keep living in the emotional architecture of not enough. That is why normalizing is so powerful. It changes the architecture. It says, this is not too much for me. This is not too good for me. This is not too far for me. I am willing to let this become normal. My dear, that one shift alone can reduce so much delay because the body is no longer standing at the doorway saying, impossible, too bright, too big, too strange. It begins saying, oh, perhaps this belongs here after all. That is exactly the kind of softening that creates acceleration, not strain, familiarity, not force, inner permission. So, if something you want still feels too high, too special, too other, bring it down into the level of ordinary blessing. Say, it is normal for good to come to me. Again, it is normal for good to come to me. Let your system hear that. Let your body stop treating the good like an intruder. And now, my darling, we come to a practice that may sound simple, but it is one of the most important things you can do if you want to stop scattering your energy. Choose one thing, one, not seven, not your whole life, in one dramatic burst, one clear target for 7 to 21 days. Why? Because light through a magnifying glass becomes powerful when it gathers in one place. But light scattered everywhere only warms the surface and rarely ignites anything. The same is true with your attention. If one day you are trying to manifest peace, the next day money, the next day a relationship, the next day a different body, the next day a whole career reinvention, the next day healing every part of your past, then the system stays dispersed. It never gets to rest deeply in one frequency long enough for it to become familiar. My dear, this is not because life is stingy. It is because your energy is precious. and it works best when it is given a clear home for a little while. So choose one thing, not even necessarily one outer result. Choose one feeling. This is the real key. What do you want to feel? Light, free, supported, secure, loved, enough, calm, proud, safe? That feeling is the destination tone. Often people think they want a certain outer thing, but really what they long for is the feeling they imagine it will bring. So go directly to the feeling. Write one line. What I want to feel is, keep it simple, keep it honest. Then choose one I have sentence that matches that feeling. If you want to feel supported, perhaps your sentence is, I have support all around me. If you want to feel free, perhaps it is, I have space to breathe and choose. If you want to feel loved, perhaps it is, I have love available to me now. If you want to feel calm, perhaps it is, I have peace in my mind now. My dear, this is such a powerful simplification. It gathers your energy. It tells the mind, heart, and body what they are practicing. It lets the system stop running in 5 directions and begin walking in 1. And when you do this, something very beautiful happens. The path starts feeling less theoretical. The future starts feeling less far away. The body starts hearing the same emotional note often enough that it begins trusting it. You are no longer trying to quantum leap into 10 lives at once. You are becoming coherent around one living truth. That is how speed happens. That is how time collapse becomes real. Not because you demand more, but because you scatter less. Not because you perform bigger, but because you align deeper. So let me leave you with a little sequence to hold close. First, bring the mind, heart, and body into agreement. My mind, heart, and body agree. Then live from the standard of the version who has arrived while releasing the need to manage the how. I do my part, life does its part. Then normalize the good so the body can stop treating it like danger. I am willing to have this. It can be easy. It is normal for good to come to me. And finally, choose one thing, one feeling, one sentence, one direction for the next little season. That is enough, my dear. More than enough. Because a scattered spirit tires quickly, but a coherent one begins moving life in a new way. So breathe out now, soften the shoulders, open your hands, and say with me slowly, my mind, heart, and body agree. It is safe for me to have this. I live it now. I release the how. What I want to feel is, and I have it forming now. Stay there. Let that be simple. Let that be true. Let that be your next beautiful beginning. My dear, as we come to the end of this time together, I want to leave you with something simple, warm, and true. I want to leave you with your own power again. Not the hard kind of power that pushes, proves, and exhausts itself, but the quiet kind of power that knows how to stand, breathe, trust, and receive. You do not have to become someone else in order for life to bless you. You do not have to chase until you collapse. You do not have to beg for what belongs to your soul. You are allowed to soften now. You are allowed to stand in your own worth now. You are allowed to let good come to you now. I want you to remember that your life is listening to the way you speak to it. Your body is listening, your heart is listening, your future is listening. So speak with love, speak with steadiness. Speak as someone who no longer doubts that she matters. Speak as someone who is learning to welcome what is beautiful, healthy, peaceful, and true. Let today be the day you stop arguing with your own becoming. Let today be the day you stop treating your dream like something too far away, too big, or too good for you. My darling, what is meant for you does not need your desperation. It needs your openness. It needs your willingness. It needs your inner agreement. So if fear rises, breathe. If doubt rises, soften. If the old voice starts talking, do not follow it down the old hallway. Come back to yourself. Come back to your body. Come back to the truth that you are not behind life. Life is moving with you. What you need is already beginning to gather around you in ways seen and unseen. What you are becoming is already more real than the old story would like you to believe. Stand tall in this truth now. I am safe, I am worthy, I am ready. I do not have to force what is already finding me. I can trust myself. I can trust life. I can receive with peace. I can walk gently and still arrive beautifully. And above all, sweetheart, remember this. You are not here to earn your place in the universe. You already belong. You are here to let yourself shine, to let yourself heal, to let yourself receive, and to let yourself become. Life loves you. Life is not withholding your good. So open your heart, bless your path, and go forward with softness, dignity, and quiet certainty. All is well, and so it is.